Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Into the Vault, especially in the year 2024, hosted by Lydian Labs. Today I'm honored to actually have distinguished guests within the space, right? For especially in the Web3 gaming space, to come share some of their thoughts on on controversial topics potentially, right? So without further ado, let me first introduce Hugo Church from Brilliantcrypto. Welcome, Hugo. Please do give a slight introduction of who you are, what you do, and what project you actually represent.
Awesome. I'm first. That's great. I also appreciate the slight introduction. That is the cue to not spend 30 minutes talking about my projects. But yeah, it looks like not many people are here at the moment, but I'm sure there'll be a recording. So let me just introduce quickly. Yeah, I'm Hugo Churchy from Brilliantcrypto. I do community management and also business development for Brilliantcrypto too. Brilliantcrypto is a Web3 game. It's made by a Japanese company. We're making a global project which is going to be about finding digital gemstones. You can find those gemstones, you can turn them into NFT jewelry, you can wear them in the metaverse. It's going to be, hopefully, what we're aiming for is a sustainable play-to-earn game where you can find gemstones and sell them and have a great time playing the game as well. Yeah, we're partnered with Paris Saint-Germain, repping the merch out here as well. So we're partnered with Paris Saint-Germain, and we're using them as well as our marketing partners. We have lots of partners out there, including Lydian Labs. I'm super happy to be out here on this stream with you guys. And yeah, Lydian Labs have been great partners for us so far. And this is just only another way in which we're getting great value out of our partnership. So yeah, super happy to be here. Super happy to talk about Web3 gaming today. And thank you for having me on.
Nice. Thanks, Hugo. Right. Brilliantcrypto is quite amazing. I think the first time we met, I was astounded by that partnership with Paris Saint-Germain. So it's amazing what you guys are doing. And next up, let's introduce Vera from Chronicles. Hi, Vera.
Hello. Hi, guys. Thank you.
A quick one.
Okay, quick. Hi, I'm Vera. I do marketing at Planetarium Labs, which is the Web3 gaming company behind Chronicles. Chronicles, we're a fantasy RPG game and probably the world's first fully on-chain open source MMORPG game. Just to give you some background on how our game works is users create an avatar, you progress across various stages, you fight against different monsters, collect resources, craft weapons, items, which can also be sold via in-game marketplace. And we also have like PvP mode where users, gamers can participate in the arena to move the ranks and win some like nice rewards. Just wanted to add that we launched actually the PC version in 2020. And last year, 3 years after the PC version, we released a mobile, which is how I actually met Lydian Labs. The mobile release went really well. We had over 220,000 users pre-register, over 250,000 downloads, and we were one of the top ranking games across the mobile app stores in Korea. So that was exciting. And in a few weeks, we'll be introducing a new guild content where community members can create their own guilds and compete against each other. So if you're a gamer, come check us out, join our Discord, say hi. All right, I'm
nice. Done. So hint, any esports elements in the game?
So this is a pilot version. So not yet, but we're definitely, looking around, gathering some feedback, ideas, so we can improve and enhance the content. So maybe for the official kickoff, there will be.
Nice. All right, thanks, Vera. All right, next up, we have Jason from Tezos Gaming. I think everyone is keen to hear what you have to say, as you are the only ecosystem guest on this list. Hi, Jason.
Hello, hey Ian. Hi.
Right. So just quick introduction of yourself, who you represent, and then what do you do?
All right. So here goes. So basically, I'm Jason, and I lead the gaming initiative in TZ APAC for games to build on Tezos blockchain. A little background on myself. So I've been in the gaming scene for over a decade now, from an esports player to one who work on partnership aspects with developers and publishers like Moonton, Riot Games, Tencent, Blizzard, Garena, and many more. And now, in Web3, working on Tezos blockchain, basically getting all these, good games to basically, develop and integrate onto our Web3 ecosystem. For those who don't know much about Tezos, we have been around since 2017. ICO in 2017, mainnet went live in 2018. And, the key difference comparing Tezos blockchain to other blockchain out there is we really scale up to 1 million transactions per second. Current block time sits at about 15 seconds. Extremely low carbon footprint and gas fee. And what matters the most right now is, Tezos is actually a self-upgradable blockchain. And basically, it means that we seamlessly adopt tomorrow innovation without disruption. And in other words, forkless upgrade. So something to take note for Tezos moving forward, we are actually moving towards L2 as well. So if nothing goes wrong, right now our testnet for EVM compatibility is live, and mainnet should follow sometime in March. And of course, people should look out for that.
Interesting. Wow. I think Tezos is one of the older players in the blockchain ecosystem, right? And wow, it's great to hear that you guys are venturing towards the EVM compatibility for an L2. Definitely looking forward to more details on that. Thank you, Jason. And next up, we have Joe from Metasports. What's up, Joe?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So what's this
Yeah, so
introduction?
quick introduction of yourself, what you do.
Sure. So my name is Joe. So I am the CEO and co-founder of Metasports. So we are a startup studio and agency based in Southeast Asia. So essentially, we build and co-build and invest in gaming IPs and gaming superculture IPs. So some of those mean that some people actually here in Web3 might know. So some examples are we also do creator IPs. So we manage and co-own the business interests and IP of people like Yellow Panther, who you probably can't ignore if you're on Web3 these days. Cuckoo as well. We own a profitable esports team in Southeast Asia. We invested in gaming movies. And so we really kind of build game agnostic media properties in Web3 and in esports and in gaming at large. And now kind of like even bleeding into anime. So one of the more recent ones we've been working on as part of our parent group, Blockchain Space, is called Guilds Hall. So it is a basically exclusive community of communities for guild leaders in Web3 gaming. So we have amazing sub guilds of things like YGG. We have specialized guilds who only play, and dominate leaderboards of card games. We have FPS specialist guilds. And so we're very thankful to build this thing together and to be able to accrue value for, not the super guilds sometimes, but just the leaders and building that space for them to be able to really accrue value for games. So, yeah.
Cool. Joe and I think we go a little while back.
Way back.
And so esports and all, so hence why that cheeky question to Nine Chronicles is now about esports as well. So thanks. Thanks, Joe. And our final guest that would be Madeira from Matrix Fire. Welcome, Madeira.
Hello. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yeah, so just do a quick introduction of who you are, the Matrix crew, Matrix Fire, and the many, many interesting things that are coming out of Matrix.
Yeah, this is Madeira speaking, the co-founder of Matrix platform. And what Matrix is striving to do is trying to deliver a Web3 native entertainment cultural platform. So the first thing we would like to do is to try to deliver a trilogy game with unified worldview stories, focusing essentially on hundreds of years of wars between centralized data cartels and decentralized resistance troops. And the first episode of the trilogy game is called the Matrix File, a CSGO style mobile game. While we have already completed the pre-alpha test and the alpha test, and currently we already opened the experience server until probably the official launch of our game before the end of the first quarter. And also we got tremendous results during the last alpha test with 200K registered users and 15K daily active users and 5,000 highest concurrent users. And currently, we got another battle royale part of the Matrix Fire 2 to be delivered probably before the end of this year. And currently, we have already minted out three update collections: YTC Matrix 2061 and Matrix Cuckoo, and with the aggregate FDVs of almost 100 million USDT. So we are currently in the number 7 NFT brands in terms of market cap in the world. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Madeira. Thanks. So that's all your panelists. It's going to be interesting. The topics that we have today will definitely challenge some of our speakers. But I think, guys, let's just casual chat, right? So let's just take it a step at a time, right? So Mr. Production, so can you put everyone up so that everyone's mic is live? And then so what the format of how we're going to be running this today is really simple. I think we did shoot across the topics over to you guys. We may not go through all the questions, right? And I'll just basically go with the flow. So don't be shocked, right? We'll take it as best as we can, and then we'll finish it off with 15 minutes of Q&A at the end. and we'll see how things go then. All right. So the first topic is Web3's transformative impact on the gaming industry. So now I'm gonna have a very I'm gonna admit I basically got into Web3 because of gaming, the likes of Axie Infinity. I was part of a guild. I was a scholar, right? So I think rightfully so. I think Joe was kind of like from that pedigree as well, right? Maybe Joe, just a quick question to you. Let's start off with you, right? So how has the inception of blockchain technologies kind of like disrupted or enhanced the traditional gaming models? And what's your take on what's ideal, right? In terms of like tokenomics, gameplay, right? Because we came out of Axie Infinity, I still do have a little bit of a love for them. So let's, hear what you got to say.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep this simple because I think there are a lot of really awesome reasons, right? Obviously, I think the first one that was asset ownership in game. But to be completely honest, what I've come to really love about it from someone like you who's worked with publishers in Web 2 for the better part of more than half a decade prior to Web 3 is my honest favorite part is I don't think there was a world where communities and builders could be as close to the publisher and developer as Web 3. I think that the whole Web3 community aspect has forced, in some ways, to really, the feedback loop is so direct. It's so public. Sentiment is tied to your community. And I think just as someone who also builds around that, like in Web2, if you had some other time even, consider myself, I consider myself kind of well connected to Web2. We work with big publishers, but there's something about more of a shared value culture of Web3 that we get to work with the games and publishers and developers much more closely. And for me, that's, I think, the intangible part I love about it, that it is much more tied together. The success of the game feels much more tied together with the core community. So
I just want a quick follow-up question on that, right? So like you mentioned blockchain technologies, you mentioned community, but I'm sorry, Joe, for putting you on the spot, right? But
sure.
But think about it this way, right? Like we talk about Final Fantasy fanatics, right? They have a huge community. They didn't require a blockchain technology to do that as well. So how does that make it different for the blockchain space, if I may say?
I think that, so simply put, I think because the way a lot of Web3 games also raise is weirdly enough, also they tap into a lot of almost speculative retail as well. And just because of that, there's some sort of alignment and accountability, literally that they tap into from the community, right? And so I think that naturally as a technology and people all around the world can participate. Again, it puts some sort of alignment, accountability to the success. Maybe Final Fantasy can't do it or hasn't done that, but if Final Fantasy, and just kill that IP or kill the game, what can the game, different from having, aligned incentive on a, a digital asset and currency sometimes. So, that's
right. Gotcha. I think that's a huge narrative when it comes to Web3 gaming, doesn't it? So like Hugo, like what are your thoughts like with whatever Brilliantcrypto is doing right now? Pretty much the same topic, same question, right? How have you with the game Brilliantcrypto kind of like enhanced the gaming scene per se, right? The experience of it, how does it actually connect with one another?
Well, what I'll say is that I'll try and speak from the perspective of a large mobile gaming giant. The parent company of Brilliantcrypto, which is Colorplat, which is a huge mobile gaming company that's existed for a long time in Japan, has made their business for a long time, is selling digital assets to users. That's how these mobile games and other games make money. The free to play model now is all based off of getting people involved in your game that's interesting, and then selling stuff to them on the side, which is items, whether it's skins or something else like that. How do you enhance that? The obvious answer is it actually belongs to the person, right? It's not just inside your server inside the game service. And when the service ends, then, say goodbye to the stuff that you bought. That's what, we're used to in Web2 gaming. Now with Web3 gaming, we don't have that. We have a possibility for, for example, other projects or other games to pick up where, some games have left off, because let's be honest, games have life cycles, as I think Joe touched on as well. Games have life cycles, and if they finish, then you're going to want to do something with the assets that you've already got. So that's enhanced Web2 gaming significantly already through Web3. People will always talk about ownership first as the biggest enhancing factor of blockchain gaming. That's at least how I feel about it. And then the play to earn aspect as well. A lot of I know it's sort of a buzzword that people don't like to talk about these days, but that's something that's been the dream of many gamers is to make money playing games, to live in that world where they don't have to go to work, they don't have to step outside their door, they can just play games all day and make a living from that. That's something that for the very first time Web3 games made possible. So that's a big enhancement for the regular gamer.
So I think the next question I want to ask is actually to Jason, right? So being with the pedigree of your history with multiple games, working for multiple games, building partnerships with multiple games, you've seen it all, right? Basically, so you've seen the good side and the dark side, so to speak. So how about you, right? From an ecosystem perspective, a blockchain perspective, an infrastructure perspective, how do you think blockchain is actually redefining the rules of gaming, right? This actually moves us to the second topic, right, which is the evolving economic models in blockchain gaming. I did not use GameFi. I have been crucified for saying GameFi before by Yellow Panther, Mr. Joe. But yes, what do you think with the tokenomics and the game economics? How does it bring a different flavor to Web3 gaming and comparing that to traditional ones?
I think if I were to put it this way, tokenomics itself allows the current users to basically have a stake, or I would say they partially invested in the game itself, because as the token price fluctuates, the movement price up and down, it affects the holding power, the liquidity of the particular player. So with that being implemented in the current meta, in Web3 itself, is basically deepen the kind of experience, the kind of acknowledgement, or should I say ownership of a particular player when they play a game. Like for instance, when I play Mobile Legends today, the price of the diamonds, the price of the battle points within a game wouldn't change, because it's all tied to fiat. But when it comes to Web3 with tokenomics, like you said, the price itself will impact the value of the NFT. It will impact the price of the tokens. So as a holder myself, I will feel that, I actually have the ownership in terms of like increasing the value of the token price, or even for the NFTs. And then at the same time, potentially introducing more players to come to play the game. Because as a player, I will feel that, I actually own part of the business. And this is basically empowering the users. And this is how Web3 actually does it. I don't have to necessarily, look at, companies that's listed in the stock market to basically invest in them. With Web3, basically being decentralized, going through IDO or even going through exchanges, people can then buy the tokens and then basically have a say or even have part of like an involvement within, the space itself when it comes to gaming.
That's interesting, right? Because narrative of games have always been dictated by only one party. It's a one-way street, right? Basically, content is being built by the publishers, and you're pretty much forced to just take whatever they have, and shove that they basically shove in your face, and you're at their mercy, right? And I'm gonna like a game that I shall not name its name. I've played since I was young. I'm pretty elderly, if you all must know. But servers have been resetted. There's new versions of the game, new iterations over and over again, and things just get flushed away, right? And you're like, okay, if I'm paying to play the game, it's all gone, right? Well, what's gonna happen to that? So that kind of helps me segue to Vera. Maybe you want to take the next question. it's not on the question list. But you know, play to earn, play and earn, all these terminologies we have heard, right? Step and earn, sleep and earn, and more to earn, right? So now this concept, what do you think about it? Like, does it make sense to you?
I mean, so I think like Hugo mentioned this before, but there are a lot of like, experience to earn, sleep to earn, move to earn, play to earn, right? And I know many people might be against certain like terms like that, but what I've noticed, at least in South Korea, is we're really working hard to onboard Web2 users. In a way, it kind of does serve as like a marketing tool to kind of incentivize and educate and even kind of engage people who are kind of wary about Web3 gaming to come, join. Because by using those terms, sometimes we can use it as a channel to, I guess, educate potential users or gamers. Um, yeah, yeah,
I do agree with you, right? It's like a little bit of a taboo these days, right? Anyone that says X to earn it, you're like, right? It's gonna have a dumponomic, right? People are gonna be dumping those tokens as they earn. Many narratives in the gaming space, they actually say that, hey, these games they probably won't survive because people are just playing for the sake of earning tokens
right.
and dumping them, right? But like, just a little bit of a follow through, right? Like just a little bit. Do you think it's possibly sustainable?
Oh, okay, this is I think I got the hard question, very tricky question. Is it sustainable? I think if it's just about like, because I know there was a question where it was like play to earn, play and earn. I think if it's like we lean towards like play and earn, maybe yes, sustainable. But if it's just play to earn, I do think it'll be challenging because I mean there's a multiple like reasons for it, but personally, I just feel like if the only focus is on like the earning part, that at the end of the day, it becomes harder for games to even improve their content, to like compete with other existing like engage, like instead of focusing on what really makes the whole play part engaging and fun,
Mm-hmm.
it just becomes very just money driven. And I think there has to be a fine balance. If it's just about earning, then yeah, I think it won't be sustainable. Ooh.
So I love that you said that, right? Like,
But that is
what's
my perspective, only my perspective. Yeah.
and it's a fair perspective, right? Why I say that is that because see, once again, I'm sorry that there's so many great games here, and I keep quoting Axie Infinity, but they are basically the godfathers, right? They brought this whole movement onto the table, and things just kind of like evolves from there, right? But like the recent news that SLP is no longer going to be unlimited supply, that is one of the remedies to how they're controlling the economy. And I think there's a lot less outflow now, right? As to compared to the old days, right? Where guilds, I ran a guild, right? I had 260 players, just farming away, right, and dumping every single time that they get that token. So Madeira, so like building off this, right? So how is it going to be really different moving forward? Do you see that this is still a potential model that can survive, right? Or do you think that there has to be more unique elements to the whole tokenomics of a Web3 game?
Well, we are pretty much sure that even Web3 games have to abide by some common business models. Like you still have to sustain some kind of in-game cash flows, like what Binance usually said, that even he usually said that during his speech, that he likes very much those gaming projects which could produce generate in-game cash flows other than just earn money out of the token sales. Most of the RP projects and the Web3 gaming projects, in fact, that do not have the capability for generate in-game cash flows. So that's really a very big issue. And also the X2R model is not sustainable, already proven by the predecessors, even though those predecessors were extremely successful during the past. So we would like to introduce the already proven extremely successful business model of CSGO, that is to rely much more on the cash flow generated from the case opening. That is to say, we will introduce a lot of blind cases in our ecosystem, and encourage those players and users to use our game token and governance tokens to systematically to open those blind cases. And in these kind of a scenario, those blind case opening should our games to be very hot. Those kind of a blind case opening could be produced, could be live streamed or produced into short video content to be promoted worldwide, so that these kind of a business model could be sustainable. So anyway, this kind of a business model has already been proven extremely successful and generated annual turnover transaction volumes of skin trading like $30 billion per year for CSGO. So we think it's really worth our hard try, and it is probably the biggest hope that we could find finally ultimately a sustainable business model for Web3 gaming. Thank you.
Nice. And that kind of like sets us up for the next topic, right? The role of NFTs and digital ownership, right? So I'm gonna circle it like all the way back up to my dear Hugo, right? NFTs, in-game assets, right? Fluctuation. We've heard things like free commerce, fluctuation of pricing for NFTs. They are potentially good for games, right? We talked about ownership. Now, is there anything beyond that, to be honest? Because that's the narrative. I'm don't get me wrong, I'm an advent gamer. I love Web3 gaming. I believe in the system, right? But is there more, right? And I think and maybe like interoperability, is that something? Is a myth?
All right. Okay. Interoperability is a myth. I mean, because by saying that, you actually kind of like jumped on exactly what I was going to say in response to like to your question. The role of NFTs in gaming, yeah, and I kind of touched on this already, and it ties into what we're doing at Brilliantcrypto as well. Is that the whole idea of creating or having NFTs in game, as you said, right? The price is fluctuating. That's good for games. That's going to get people involved in games, and people are going to play them, and it's going to be good for marketing. That's the typical stance that's being taken in Web3 gaming right now, right? Sell an NFT, people will buy it, people will flip it. Hopefully, you can get them into the game, and you can do something with tokenomics that will, get them to stay, right? What we're doing is completely different. The play to earn aspect of our game is based on the NFTs, and the reason for doing that is because the NFTs are, they're supposed to be usable outside the game's ecosystem. This is a wider role for the NFTs that are being created in Brilliantcrypto. And this is something that we believe as a company will connect, or should hopefully connect to sustainable play to earn, which was just being touched on earlier as well. So I feel like this is a great segue. In order to actually create some sort of value that people can continue to benefit from in a Web3 game, you have to create value that's outside of the circle. Otherwise, you're going to create this sort of death spiral that happens in every Web3 game inevitably at the moment. And for us, that's using NFTs that will have a role outside of the game that you are currently playing. That means something. They're not like this red gnome with a shiny yellow nose or something that looks like it has value because people have talked about it, but you don't actually know what it's going to be used for outside of that game, or outside of buying it and then selling it for money and profiting later on. The role of NFTs has really got to be a bit deeper than that. They've got to be something that people can continue to use, not just in one game, but in like the whole ecosystem, or even wider than that, like a bigger sort of metaverse style thing as well. That's what we're going for. That's how we feel NFTs should be approached in games as well. And we'll see if that pans out, but that's something experimental that we're doing, and we'll see if it affects the industry at all.
sounds like you're talking about retained value, right? Basically. So that's a really interesting concept. I think having to be able to carry value of one item to another game, that kind of like keeps me going. I get to trade that in, I still get a head start for the next game, right? So Jason, what I'm thinking is that like you have spoken to numerous projects, right? Like the number of games that I know is like so limited as to compare to you in the Web3 gaming space. So like, what have you seen, right, in terms of like the trends and the innovations in the NFT space, which actually carry forth towards the Web3 gaming ecosystem, right? I'm sure you have seen things like free mints, you have seen things like non-tokenized incentives. Is it just purely cosmetics? Is it just purely for commerce? What have you seen that is like truly innovative in the recent times, especially as we're going into the bull market, right?
Yeah, I've seen a couple, right? So I think first and foremost, earlier you asked about the play to earn model and stuff like that. I see some changes when it comes to the earn mechanics right now, whereby users are not purely rewarded by tokens anymore, but rather for the fact they are actually rewarded by exclusive NFTs. For example, by the end of a season, if you are on the top of the leaderboard, you get stand a chance, or even you may even get an airdrop for an exclusive NFTs, and then for you to determine the value of the NFT itself. And this is basically an earn model. And I personally felt that this is very sustainable because it doesn't straight away affect your token price, but rather it still keeps the earning mechanics kind of concept for players who still continue to want to earn. We've been playing in the space, right? And then on the other side, what I do like to see moving forward for other games as well is to have all this kind of burning and fusing kind of mechanics within the NFT space, which allows users to basically for example, burning 3 of the older NFTs to potentially obtain NFT of a higher tier, which for this instance either you have to buy them from the loot boxes, which is like opening the crate boxes and stuff like that, or potentially just exchanging these NFTs for a better one. I think this kind of model is definitely helpful, not just in terms of like keeping the game fresh, but also help me as a chain or even other chains out there to basically create more on-chain value or on-chain transaction on a game, on a chain itself. And this is basically something that not just for a game, but chains are actually pushing games to something to basically develop for their games, to keep users retained within the ecosystem as they scale forward towards the growth.
Right. So I'm just gonna cue my partner, my CEO Adrian Sim. He just managed to join us because he was in a prior engagement. So the reason why I'm jumping straight to Adrian right now is because what Jason just said is really interesting, because it's something that we have pitched to gaming projects before, right? Burning NFTs to gain new levels in an item in a game, right? So maybe Adrian, you want to kind of like expand a little bit more on that, like how is it beneficial to do that, right? I mean, we know it's supply and demand, right? But are gamers going to be receptive to that, especially when they are actually feeling real money this time, right? It's no longer like you play a game, you buy in-game credits, and then you're committed to it, and then you have no choice but to just kind of expand it, right? So behavior, player behavior.
Okay, so just look at it this way. I'm an avid gamer. Like I still manage to squeeze some time in daily for gaming, and I spend quite a bit, right? So even if you were to say merge the NFTs, but it gives you an additional level. It gives you additional mining powers, earning powers, and stuff like that. And generally, I feel that is a good way to keep the supply in check, because just it's a game we all know. For example, Axie Infinity. I was there during the beginning, when we were literally breeding Axies by the buckets, right? And eventually we ended up with about, I would say, like 6,000 to 7,000 Axies, and this increase in supply, this insane increase in supply, because Axies can keep breeding, they're like bloody rabbits, right? And eventually you reach a kind of breaking point where there's just so much and people are just dumping them for money anyway. So by burning and merging these NFTs, essentially, I feel like it will concentrate value in the NFTs, especially those who are committed long term. Because let's just say we are burning like 3 NFTs, level 1s to get level 2s, 3 level 2s to get level 3s. It's actually pretty, how do I put it, exponential, right? So it costs a lot to get to there. And I believe for someone, let's say it's a whale who comes in, they can just buy it off the market, yeah, but they're gonna have to spend bucket loads of money just to kind of compensate for the time and effort the other person put into it. Yeah.
So it's retention of value in a very different manner to what Hugo just said, right? So now Joe. So like ethical, non-ethical. Are we kind of like trespassing on any ethical lines when we start doing this? Like we're talking about kids, right? Like potentially a 6-7-year-old is potentially playing your game, right? I mean, we're not game publishers, so we're okay here. No one else asked this question too, so yeah.
Okay, I got a spicy one. All right.
To get people to kind of like spend money. I don't know, right?
Well, I mean, okay, so I'll try and be judicial about. Okay, no, let's give the spice. I think that people already spend money in games, right? That's not a problem. Kids spend more. They're clearly a target market for a lot of Web2 games already. That's not really a problem, right? So it's really more if they have a problem with people doing it to make money later. I think the only part I feel is a gray area, and this is not an attack on some of the games here, but I think in general, like last cycle, the only thing I think had a problem, I think was really questionable, was more about NFTs and digital assets in game as as owning part of the game when they were more just tied to a single game's assets. And not equity into the actual company, not, I think right now, unfortunately, some of the equity and tokens are still quite detached in real world business. That's kind of a real thing. So I think that, I think when you tell your community you're going to own part of it, or you market some games, I know what essentially was a financial raise as a part owning a game, when instead of, or being, part owning the community at some sort, when it really was kind of like detached to the equity and the IP. So for me, that's kind of like where it becomes kind of like, I think not questionable, but it's still clearly a gray area. So I don't think it's an ethics thing that's wrong, but you're really putting a lot of trust into the game maker and dev, and it's not like immutable on chain where that is clearly tied together, right? So that's really fair. I think it's when some games or some people are misrepresented financial raising with co-ownership of the game, all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So what you're essentially saying is misrepresentation, right? It creates a lot of the mis-selling by game owners that unnecessarily kind of like drives that hype, and at the end of the day is just disappointment. Well, I think it's a little unfair for me to kind of like throw you under the bus with that question, because come to think of it, it's a debate that even in traditional games that they're still struggling with, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Some countries have already imposed like various laws on even loot boxing, right? So I think Madeira, I'm gonna jump to you here, right? Because loot boxing is I'm a fan, right? I think it's a form of gacha. I think it's a very fair methodology to determining how much wealth a person has in the game, right? It can be fair, right? It's technically fair, right? It's just that some people are luckier than the others.
I love gacha. Just saying, by the way. Even Web2, I love gacha. Like it's, I don't know. I think there's some question. I don't know if it's a question to me, but as a gamer, I don't hate it. Like even when I play Web2 games, I spend more money than I should, but I love it. Like the dopamine for what I'm willing to lose for it, and the reward is quite fun. So I don't hate it personally.
Amen to that.
Right. So Madeira, what do you think? Like, it sounds like you already have a customer here, right? Joe's gonna like download your game and buy like 20 loot boxes at one go, right?
Yeah. Well, according to Patrick's experience that we already learned from the years, dozen of years of our skin trading of a CS:GO ecosystem, we found the amazing truth that so many CS:GO gamers, in fact, they do not really open those loot boxes. They just sell that out just straightforward to those merchants. So there are systematically those merchants, game merchant traders. They are willing to purchase these kind of loot boxes and spend much money to open that. So that creates a kind of a way to monetize those gaming skills for CS:GO gamers. So essentially, those high skilled gamers, they are more capable of produce of obtaining this kind of a loot box. And if they do not really want to try their luck, they could sell that directly to those kind of a merchants. At least anyway, this create kind of a market and to reward those people with very high skills of our gaming. Anyway, and this is very competitive, and this is also directly related to esports. So a lot of people are raising the question, raising the concerns about the sustainability of Web3 gaming 1 year ago, and even now they are asking, how do you view the situation that gamers normally they don't really trade NFTs, and NFT traders normally they don't really play the games. So that is to say, the gamers and traders, NFT traders, are essentially in no overlap. I just tell them, in fact, this kind of a system has already been running so smoothly during the past couple of dozen of years in CS:GO ecosystem. If you look at the past experience of CS:GO, you will recognize immediately that that is exactly extremely similar to what we learned in the Web3 industry nowadays. And that is why we are adopting the exact approach of a CS:GO during the past, because we think that in the Web2 gaming industry, CS:GO ecosystem is the most similar phenomenon compared to the Web3 gaming. So we say, why not just migrate the CS:GO ecosystem to the Web3 industry so that the entry barrier, the switch cost for those CS:GO gamers, players, users, and traders, merchants are not that high, so that we could just directly convince them in migrating to Matrix ecosystem. And also, we could encourage and incentivize a lot of our esport tournaments. And here today, we have already hosted more than 20 esport tournaments all over the world and got an extremely welcoming attitude from all over the world. So anyway, we say probably esport gaming is the right answer to the Web3 gaming, because if you look at the past history of all of the gaming industry, you will find that the esports gaming is really on the rise, and more we'll see that the gaming category is divided into esport and non-esport category. And while esport is on the rise, because those esport content could be live streams and could also be very easily to produce into short video content to be promoted via all kinds of platforms such as YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, etc. And those kind of content creators get rewarded not by the project, not by the game developer, the publisher, but by those platforms, so that these kind of content get promoted widely. So that probably will be the answer to the Web3 gaming. Thank you.
Nice. So I love that you brought up esports, Jason. That's how I met you in the first place, back in the traditional gaming times, right? Relevance of esports in Web3 gaming.
I would say the relevance is super important. Like, this is basically the core when it comes to gaming. I think community has always have to come first. Without the community, without esports, there's no viewership. There's no other brands or other partners coming in. So any games who can't really deliver esports, the base that they need to do at least is to organize community events. So I see esports as a means when it comes to engaging, creating the kind of competitive elements, the competitiveness of the players themselves, and of course potentially when there's viewership, and obviously esports team, and I think for this case potentially could be guilds as well, coming in to get all these teams, or forming their own teams or their own players to participate in the tournaments, to be vested in the game itself, and potentially getting sponsors or even other partners from other areas, brands, endemic brands or whatever not that's within gaming, into the ecosystem. I think that's very important. So I definitely see a lot of Web3 games moving forward, they will start towards the growth of esports as how the traditional space used to do it. Very similar to how influencers, KOLs, how they do live stream for the traditional games. I foresee this happening moving forward when it comes to more impactful when it comes to Web3 game as well. So I think this is utmost important, and definitely can't wait to see who will take the first step in Web3 to basically go into the kind of bold initiative, organizing this kind of esports, a world kind of stage, kind of world tournament, for players to compete.
Right. So, love how you kind of like emphasized on that importance of content creation. So, I came from an esports background, so I always believe that esports is a form of content that is really, really vital in building a game, right? Some form of competitive element has to be there, regardless, right? So, that is key to building a whole well-rounded ecosystem where you have different stakeholders coming in and actually contributing to it, right? So then I'm just gonna jump to Joe first, right? Just because of our background. So like games you look forward to. It's a personal question, so I'm once again giving you the hard one, a personal question. Games. So in our panel, obviously we have an RPG game, right? We have a mining game which I played. It's awesome, right? It's awesome. It's like beyond Minecraft, like with super graphics, right? So I loved it, right? We have Matrix Fire. I don't think you have seen it yet. Maybe you have seen a trailer. CS:GO, right? Ex Garena developers, very PUBG Mobile, very Free Fire kind of UI, right? So we've got 3 different games, really different kind of like style. So now you're from the Philippines, you market to the Filipinos, right? So maybe you want to shed some light on what's the current state in the Philippines. I know it's a big cap to kind of like put on, right? What are they looking for? Like, we have got 2 mobile games, we have 1 PC game. Maybe one day Brilliantcrypto is going to be on phone, hopefully. But what are you seeing in the market, right, in the whole of 2023?
Well, I don't know if this is like more of Web3, but just in greater gaming, because we do still touch a lot of Web2 IPs and content and clientele as well. At least for the Philippines, but I guess you guys would also know much more Southeast Asia, as we talk about it all the time. Honestly, I am personal game or like what we see in the Philippines. So I think those 2 questions. I'll try and answer both, right? I think what we see is in the Philippines or even greater Southeast Asia area. I think it's still. I am a big proponent that you can't like you can every kind of like niche or gaming genre is a fragmented community of its own. That's actually what shapes it, right? So you might have some certain genres that are actually very small and capped, like fighting game communities, but they might actually have higher paying or purchasing power because of the generation is a little older, and they're willing to sustain that genre itself. So, but I think overall, we obviously see the kind of the fastest growth in mobile MOBA, and mobile FPS, right? Highly competitive, contained time. Gen Z and Gen A love them. I think we're big on like multi-generational life cycle, so we like to look at what like the next generation really likes. And so far, mobile FPS and mobile MOBA is still kind of number 1, especially in the Philippines. And then I think the dark horse is actually casual gaming. Definitely a lot larger female demographic, young, so like casual and like what do you call it? Multiplayer cooperative casual gaming is also super big, starting to, especially like with the rising female market age group, all are kind of like gamers, right? So that's one. So personally, I'm older. I think some of us might be older here, and as a new father, I don't have much time to game. So I just love stuff that is, I can play it in 3 minutes and 5 minutes, whether it be a farming game, maybe even a mining game, a MOBA that ends in 3 minutes. I am happy already because I don't have much time outside of already studying games for work. Like for me, like playing with my friends is usually that 3 to 5 minute dopamine hit every hour or so or 10 minutes, and I'm happy.
Congratulations on being a new father, bro. And I think I just segue to like Adrian because like what kind of like Joe said, right? Like types of games that you like, that you would like to see on in the Web3 space. I'm sorry, I need to put a small little disclaimer here. Adrian is a huge League of Legends fan, right? So it might be it's going to be really unfair for me to ask him this question, but hey, get that just give it a hit.
Sorry, ask me what?
Basically, what kind of games would you look forward to having to having play on the Web3 space? Like
honestly, a good MMORPG that's not like pay to win, more like win to earn would be nice. If you suck, you don't make any money, that kind of thing. So because I don't think there are many MMORPGs that are like super AAA. Like it doesn't have to be AAA, but something that I'm really looking forward to is an MMO that you can. I would say something similar to New World that Amazon published, but with the ability to, because like I'm a huge farmer, right? Like I will chop wood for 6 hours straight without sleeping, wake up the next morning after 2 hours of sleep, and I would like to get paid for chopping wood in a game. So yeah, definitely looking forward to something like a Web3 MMORPG, a little different from a new father. I don't have children yet, so
I think Brilliantcrypto would be brilliant for you. Haha, pun intended. Sorry, I just had to. And Vera, in case you were wondering, check out the name Insignia in 9 Chronicles, and you'll understand his.
Hey, no. I never played for a few weeks already.
I got you. I wrote it down. It's too late.
No.
I will find.
But yeah, big fan. He was playing 9 Chronicles for quite a while, and he was shilling it all over the place. And like, yeah, I think we're coming to like the end. I keep getting pinged by Wabi Sabi, our producer, saying that we're hitting 11 o'clock. I said, hey, chill out. We're having a good conversation here, man. Like okay, so let's do questions. Let's see if there's any questions. But I found something really funny on Twitter. Someone actually commented this like whilst you guys were talking. That's exactly why crypto blades crumbled, right? Anyone know crypto blades? Yeah,
I do.
I do.
I mean, I know who that is. That's our ambassador. I don't know what it was that he was trying to say though.
Oh, okay. Crypto Blades is a game. It's a card-based game, right, guys? Joe, Adrian, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I think
and
so.
yeah, I think it's because of supply and demand, same issue, right? And it was a play to earn kind of like model, and eventually it kind of like crumbled because of that overwhelming supply and lacking of demand, right? So that's interesting. Mr. Wabi Sabi, do we have any questions? From Mr. Ang James. Could the future of gaming lean towards NFT cosmetics rather than in-game tokens? What are your thoughts on such, since this could defeat the P2E and P&E economic model? In terms of cosmetics between the 3 games, I know for sure that Matrix Fire would have cosmetics. So I'm going to ask this question to our dear Madeira. Madeira, I know you covered it already. Maybe you want to expand just a little bit more on like, will NFT cosmetics, this whole mechanic, like wipe out P2E and P&E?
Well, cosmetics always play some kind of a value, as these kind of cosmetics has already been proven extremely successful during the past experiences. However, we are we are still protagonists for some kind of IP coins too, and we are saying those PIP NFTs will definitely be defeated by those Web3 gaming NFTs empowered by concrete products and concrete games, and especially in that those NFT holders could get all kinds of airdrops or perks and even game tokens and government tokens. So that's why the price performance of those gaming NFTs are much better compared to those pure PFP NFTs. And I still remember that recently there's a report analysis by a Twitter influencer saying that recently during the recent 90 days of the trading, he found that those gaming related NFTs is performing much better compared to those pure PFP NFTs, probably because those gaming NFTs are empowered by the future expectation of airdrops or perks or kinds of governance tokens or game tokens, etc. And I think that it's very reasonable because this kind of NFTs is really empowered by concrete use cases and scenarios, by concrete products. So that is already a big step in advance compared to the first generation of the pure PFP NFTs. And also, those governance tokens would also help this kind of Web3 gaming into a more advanced gaming category. That is to say, the game that really belongs to the gamers, the players themselves, so that the gamers will access the creator economy. They could decide which kind of a content, gaming content could be adopted by the gaming itself, and what kind of distribution of any kinds of gaming revenues in the votes could be distributed and could be employed in the future. So even though the development team could potentially quit the game in the future, but the game could still be sustained, could still be sustainable and further developed by the community. In this way, the game could have much longer lifespan compared to the traditional Web2 gaming. So I think the NFT, the gaming NFT, and as well as the governance tokens are in fact creating a new gaming category as well as a new asset class. So I think that is extremely hopeful. Thank you.
Right. Very like good points there. Right, revenue pillars for games that improve sustainability. Cosmetics. I've done quite a lot of money on cosmetics on certain games, so I'm a victim myself. So, Mr. Wabi Sabi, do we have the next question? Right, Lee, Hiring. Should players be worried about the potential of losing their in-game assets, especially when game accounts are being hacked or banned, or are particularly concerning even in traditional games? I think. Hey, Hugo, let's give it a shot, right? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, chill out. You really gave me this question. Okay, I'm sorry. No, I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to be mean, but the question is, should players be worried about the potential of losing their games, losing their in-game assets when their in-game accounts are being hacked or banned? Are they concerned about this even in traditional games? All right, I'm going to answer this question. I'm also going to touch on a previous one as well. Yes, I think players should be worried about the potential of losing their in-game assets when playing games. However, when it comes to Web3 games, there is an aspect of, hey, my account's been hacked in the game, but my wallet hasn't been hacked. So as long as, you know, the wallet that you're holding your asset is not inside the game, then perhaps you're not going to lose the asset that you've got from inside that game. So that's one interesting take on this question. But for the most part, I think people should be worried about the potential of losing their in-game assets when they get hacked. And most games will probably have wallets that are connected to their accounts as well. So if their account gets hacked, they'll probably lose their wallet as well. They'll probably lose their assets too. So don't do that. Make sure you set a good password. Make sure that you have good security on your account. Lots of influential figures, especially in the US, have learned about this recently. So let's all make sure that our accounts are secure. Let me quickly talk very briefly about like type of Web3 game that I'd be excited for. I've said this in press in conferences before. I'm a massive like Sword Art Online nerd. I really like Sword Art Online and VR games in general. So I'm super excited for a future with Web3 where we could see this interoperability and this like huge sort of metaverse VR world whereby if you die in the game, you lose all your like economic assets and stuff like that. There we go. Like they got the topic that came up straight away. I really wanted to talk about this. Like I really think that it's one of the biggest possibilities within Web3 is to link up with VR and to make it possible for people to simulate as well as possible like what goes on in real life, but in like the virtual world, whether it's playing fighting a dragon and then finding the dragon's claw, and that's going to help you out and you can sell that for money. There's so many exciting things that can happen when you tie those two worlds together of metaverse and Web3 and digital ownership. So we saw that in like Sword Art Online and like other cool VR projects. So I just want to see that come to fruition. I'll be honest. That's the thing I'm excited for. And I think what we're creating as well is really tied to like metaverse, digital ownership and stuff like that. So we're going in a sort of similar direction. Anyway, yeah, thanks for the question. The question was good. The question was fine. And yeah, I tried my best.
No wonder you are based in the land of rising sun.
Yeah, basically. I love it, honestly.
SAO.
I'm a big weeb.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna supersede Mr. Wabi Sabi because he's trying to rush me through all the questions and I don't want to. I don't want to skip questions. I'm gonna take them all. YOLO Chen, what are your thoughts on the possibility of a well-known AAA studio such as Rockstar Games or Haze-like studios embracing Web3? Go, Jason, go! Yeah! Rockstar Games, Haze-like studios. What do you think? Moonton, Riot Games.
I mean, to be completely honest, I don't think any AAA game studio would technically risk their branding and whatever they are doing right now to enter Web3. Because if you look at it, whatever they're doing, is very successful right now. They definitely wouldn't want to do it. But obviously, this won't deter them from opening up a new department to explore Web3 kind of games. To be completely honest, I wouldn't put the names out there, but I know quite a few AAA game studio. They actually subtly set up like a Web3 game company that is not directly affiliated to their current company, but they are actually looking into Web3 games, right? So the reason why all these AAA game studio they wouldn't make any changes to their current games is let's look at it this way. When you purchase any like characters, equipments or assets within the game itself, the assets is still owned by the game developers, and there's no need for them to actually make a change right now. But obviously, they still feel that the Web3 space, there's something, there's room for them to grow. That's why they will still want to explore. But whether will it be successful or not, it boils down to how they differentiate themselves in the space. But obviously, when Web3 games do enter the space, the quality of the game will definitely be better. The kind of user acquisition tool or the kind of go-to-market strategy would definitely be significantly better than most of the games that we see in the Web3 space currently. I think that's for sure. But when it comes to using a blockchain for AAA games studio out there, most of the time they will try not to use any existing chain. They will rather create their own chain because they deem that most of the chains out there cannot fulfill the kind of TPS that they want, right? But obviously they wouldn't forego multi-chain, but at the first part they would definitely create their own chain first rather than going to an existing chain like ETH or even like for example even Tezos, right? It's going to be very hard because of the kind of experience that they probably had or the kind of thoughts that they have themselves, right? But again, I'm not going to quote names because I spoke to quite a few game studios, a lot of good ones, but none of them actually really want to jump on the existing chain, but rather they really will want to just go on to create their own chain for their new games.
Nice. It's really interesting, right? There are, however, a few, right? Like, but I think it's still very much the same model as what you just described, Jason. Like, how MapleStory has partnered up with Polygon to kind of like run something, right? On the blockchain, that is potentially something that is coming out. But at the same time, they do not want to risk their current player base. MapleStory is still huge, right? Yeah, Adrian is still a big fan of it as well. Sorry, I keep quoting Adrian. It's just because I see his face every time, and then I know the games that he plays, right? So next question goes to you, right? It's Joey. What do you think it is the biggest misconception when it comes to blockchain games, and how would you address it?
I think the biggest misconception, I think most people think that blockchain game means like every single transaction is like literally on the blockchain. Of course, there are games where you can do that. It's a game I play as well, Nine Chronicles. So everything is based on block time. Like when you craft something, it's literally based on how many blocks have passed before your item is completely crafted. But I think the misconception is that people think that how do I put it?
Maybe it's costly.
So to me, right, the blockchain should be used kind of like an infrastructure piece, even for existing games, like all the AAA games, games. To me, if they were to integrate just the asset, putting all the assets on the blockchain and enabling people to trade it, they would make significantly more money because like we're gonna trade it anyway. Like just look at MapleStory. I probably spent like 120 grand on that game alone in RMT, and the developers make nothing of that, right? But if it were say an NFT, upgradable dynamic NFT, you can do it IPFS and stuff like that, then they would probably take like 5-10% of what I probably spent there trading between the items between players. And it's not just a one-time thing. People are just gonna keep continuously trading it. So a lot of blockchain games are not actually on the blockchain. There are very few rare good blockchain games out there. I really enjoy Nine Chronicles, but I have since fallen from rank 1. So, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of support for you there, Vera. So make sure that you drop him some free gifts there.
I'm feeling the love. Yeah.
All right. Then the final question. Kivas Nilukwaha 9. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Joe, this question's for you. What advice would you give gamers in terms of venturing into blockchain gaming? Should they risk their funds even if they are not familiar with Web3?
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Wow. This is wrong. Okay, no. This should be relatively easy, right? No, they should not risk their funds if they can't afford to lose it. That's just the most basic part of it. There are many wonderful games that, and I'm sure the ones here as well, version of their game that you can play without having to risk money immediately. So try those first, right? I think it's I think that's a necessary step to start onboarding more people. And I don't think any gamer is building a game that they don't think will be sustainable or be fun enough for them to cross over to purchase assets or purchase subscription or spend on a game, because we all freaking spend on games anyway. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's try the free ones or look for the genre that you are most familiar with, and you will naturally find the what's fun for you and the assets you actually want to own because you like the game, you believe in the team, your friends play it. I think people underestimate how much of what we play is influenced by our core group of friends. Like that's such a huge deal, your play group. So I don't think people should spend they can't afford to lose, and I think you should try the games first before you dabble and use the games. Are a great way to learn about blockchain. That's really it. Like I can't think of a better, honestly, way to do it. So yeah, I think they should eventually after they try the game.
All right. So okay, we're coming to the end of this live stream. So really quickly, we start from Hugo. Hugo, 2 quick closing statements. Shield the project, whatever. Open space, go.
Yeah, Brilliantcrypto is pretty cool. There's more. Honestly, I'll get shot if I don't say anything else. What we've done recently is we ran a really cool beta test that's coming to an end tomorrow. After a various extensions, the feedback has been really good for the community. We ran a lot of campaigns in December, which like times 6 our Twitter and Discord followers. Things have been really good for us. We are going to hopefully launch the game around the end of March, if possible. But that is depending on how the development schedule goes. There's going to be lots of exciting things related to the NFT that is required to play the game as well. So make sure that you're staying tuned for that. Basically, if you're in doubt, just make sure that you're in the Brilliantcrypto Discord. We're partnered with PSG. We have a load of huge collabs that will be on the horizon. If you don't want to miss it, if you're afraid of getting FOMO about Brilliantcrypto, then just make sure you're in the Discord at the very least, or follow us on Twitter. Or if you're following Lydian Labs, then I'm assuming that we'll continue to have the support of Lydian Labs as well. So there shouldn't be a problem there too. Yeah, Brilliantcrypto. If you like mining, if you like Minecraft, just check it out. It's a great game. It's all about gemstones. And we're looking forward to having lots of amazing new follows as a result of this panel.
All right, thanks.
Also, I managed to make it through 6 sweaters on this AMA. Bonus points to anyone who noticed. If you noticed, join the Discord and tag Churchy, and I'll give you, I don't know, maybe 100 XP or something.
Whoa! Right,
I doubt there'll be anyone who does it, so it's fine.
Thanks, Hugo. I'm just gonna like turn off the cam, right? All right, Vera. Quick last statement.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me here. It was really good, I guess, meeting everyone. Nine Chronicles, as I mentioned earlier, we're really excited to kick off the pilot version of our Guild War content. You'll be able to create your own guild, join other guilds. Even if you're new, don't worry. Come find other guild members to team up with. So I guess if you like gaming or want to get into Web3 gaming, please come join our Discord. Say hi. We're always coming up with new fun events, and we'll really be excited to see you guys there. Thank you.
Right, nice. Thanks, Vera. Jason. Last, I shouldn't say last words. That's wrong. But final words.
I think put it this way. Check out our upcoming games on Tezos. We have Star Symphony. Ian, actually, you want to guess who is the advisor for this game, Star Symphony? The advisor is actually someone from the esports scene. A pretty significant
sorry?
team. The advisor is someone pretty significant in the esports scene actually. Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, John Yao from Team Secret, yeah. All right,
John and of course like RRQ folks, and then Kai Huang, the founders of Guitar Heroes, they're actually advising this game called Star Symphony. So Star Symphony is a game that we actually just signed a couple months back. Right now they're actually in the alpha, so the viewers can actually check them out. We have a lot of upcoming games. One of them is actually Cometa Pulse. I feel so bad because a part of me really want to shield their game so badly, but I can't because they actually sign a lot of good IPs, but they haven't released the names yet. So check them out. They'll be launching the NFTs from the month of March. But trust me, Metasports actually have a lot of good IPs in both Web2 and Web3. Up and coming. Whether are you a pure gamer or a casual gamer, you'll definitely love them. And for the gaming projects, if you guys are looking for chains, feel free to reach out to Tezos. We offer grants, support, marketing support, tech, connection to VCs, the kind of support you potentially may need. So yeah, that's all we have.
Yeah, don't forget to scan that QR code and check out those games that Jason just mentioned. Thank you, Jason, for gracing us here. Thank you so much. So honored to have you here, and we'll catch up for coffee sometime soon. Joe, let's go.
No, not for me. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you guys for letting me share my thoughts. I know that we mostly work in the background. We're very happy to support multiple IPs. So for us, just follow the games. Follow Star Symphony. Follow Matrix Fire. I mean, the PFP project is pretty damn cool. It's also very successful. So congratulations to them. Brilliantcrypto, my team loves it. I think my team has a pending discussion with Hugo. So the games deserve all the love at this stage. We're building and really making something. But yeah, that's really it. I'm also very supportive of Star Symphony. I think we have an IP supporting them as well. I'm going to be in game soon. So anyone watching, just follow the games. I think there are people in this panel are creating some really cool stuff, and I think they deserve the attention of anybody watching through Lydian Labs network. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joe. Always a pleasure. I'll leave Adrian for the last. Madeira, final words.
Yeah, just would like to say just follow our games, and because we are already very close to the official launch of our first episode of the game, Matrix File, and also pay attention to the battle royale part of the Matrix File, and also potentially our third game in collaboration with other third parties. In the future, probably we are going to be publishing some third party games too, either in line or not in line with Matrix or Worldview Diaries. Anyway. And so, anyway, we are committed to bringing the best gaming product to the Web3 world, and also to convince the more and more Web2 users into the Web3 world. And we are here committed to also promoting massively the industry native values such as data sovereignty, decentralization, and privacy protection. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Madeira. Thank you for coming for this live stream. And the reason why I kind of like kept Adrian and I here is because this is very impromptu, Adrian. Sorry, I just kind of like made the decision on the whim. I hope the committee members won't whack me as well. But yeah, as Lydian Labs, we want to kind of like take this opportunity to announce on the live stream. We have no assets prepared, nothing, right, to show you guys, but we will be organizing a Malaysia Blockchain Week come 31st July and 1st of August. Stay tuned for that. Joe, Jason, Vera, Hugo, Madeira, we will be speaking more about this with potential of having you guys like over here. It's going to be pretty cool. It's not going to be your average conference, right? We have an esports stage in Tint. There'll be fun engagements, right? And if everything works out well, perhaps one Bitcoin. I wonder what that is. But yeah, Adrian, you want to add like some words to that?
Okay. So yeah, like Ian said, we're going to be organizing that end July, early August. So we have a lot of fun things prepared. Some people may win stuff from Satoshi Nakamoto. Others may win things from Vitalik Buterin and everything and anything in between with all our partners that we have. So definitely come and support us. Come and visit us. It's one of very few things. On a side note, there's also going to be a rage room where you get to smash shit up. So, just saying.
Yeah. So it's a brainchild of our dear CEO here, and there's going to be cars, there's going to be plates, something a little different. Like said, we promise you it's going to be a fun time, very different compared to anything else out there. But we love conferences. We averagely spend time in at least 2 conferences a month, close to. So, but yeah, stay tuned. We will have a major announcement on our Lydian Labs Twitter, so or x.com, right, and LinkedIn. So stay tuned, and do remember to check out all the beautiful games that I've presented today, right? Brilliantcrypto, Hugo, 9 Chronicles, Vera, Matrix Fire, Madeira, right? And obviously we have the likes of Joe from Metasports. Check them out in the Philippines, and Jason. Thank you for coming from representing Tezos and giving us insight. Thank you all. Good night, and we'll see you in the next installment of Into the Vault. Take care, guys.